Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel, and I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be, and of course, however you may be listening. I just want to say first and foremost, the channel has been a little slow of late, just simply because there's not a ton of action going on, not a ton of sports, things like that. And I don't want to make up stories and basically garbage to talk about. And so I've just taken a slight break here, but there is something of note that I talked about last year that I'm going to cover again this year that is, of course, of some import, which is the official visit time frame for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now, to begin with, just because when I made this video last time, there were some people who asked me what an official visit is, what the difference is between an official visit and an unofficial visit. And simply put, it's very simple, really. An official visit is paid for, everything is paid for by the school. The school funds the visit to the school. I remember when I went on an official visit to UOP for water polo, I was able to bring my dad, my grandparents. It was very, very nice. And I'm sure for basketball or for football, for some of these top athletes, top recruits, that it's even better than that. All expenses paid for. An unofficial visit is, well, the recruit pays for it. The family of the recruit pays for it. The school does not fund it. Now, it's a little weird because of course the school probably still does provide food and facilities, and I'm sure they help out when they can. Like, I guarantee you that some of the top end recruits have all of their visits paid for in one way or another, regardless of official or unofficial. But simply speaking, official paid for by the school, unofficial not paid for by the school. So let's dive into this. First and foremost, I said this last time and I'll say it again. Let me go ahead and pull up what we need to pull up here. Iowa holds their official visit, their main official visit day, in late June. We'll go ahead and pull up. By the way, I may talk about Jack McCaffrey, the son of Fran McCaffrey, and the recent news that dropped for him. I may just make that a separate video as well. But Iowa does their official visit for the football season in late June. If we go back to 2023, it's going to be the same thing. Well, they did it in late January. So, or excuse me, hold on a second. Yes, late June. Here it is. Here was the main one. And as we can see, Iowa, they did not end up landing Caden Proctor. Unfortunately, he committed to Iowa shortly after the official visit. Joe Otting ended up going to Notre Dame, Asa Newsom to Kansas State. Logan Howland, Iowa came very, very close to landing him, but he ended up going to Oklahoma. So as you guys can see, a lot of familiar names. Iowa did not win them all, did not win all of these recruitment battles, but won a lot. They did have 4 visitors in early June, but a bulk of them, which they did not land any of them. The 4 early visits that they had last year, initially they landed one in Kendrick Raphael. Of course, he decommitted and went to North Carolina State. But a bulk of who they had visit was in late June. So that's when Iowa does it. And the reason why I bring that up is because when you do a visit, so all the other schools have their visits in that month as well. Most recruits are doing their official visits in June. It's a perfect month to do it. Kids are out of school, and it's pretty much the off season. Okay, this is the time to do it. See what the heck this is. Why the now the negative to doing how Iowa does it is by the time a lot of these recruits visit Iowa, they have already visited other schools, which means that other schools have the first crack at landing the commitment and selling their pitch, taking their shot at the commit. And I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Jalen Todd, for months, was favored to go to the Iowa Hawkeyes, was heavily favored to go to the Iowa Hawkeyes. He has one visit to Kansas, and I'm still shocked he chose Kansas. Kansas is obviously not a known football school, but nonetheless, he visited Kansas. He had a high school teammate who was already committed to Kansas, and they were really able to tug at his heartstrings, and he ultimately chose Kansas before taking his visit to Iowa on the 23rd. Trying to see if there's anybody else who has committed. So far, nobody else has committed to a different school of all the main visitors besides the guy who chose Kansas. But again, that is a perfect example that having the first pitch or having the early pitches does count for something. Now, conversely, if you're the Iowa coaching staff, you could say, well, if the recruit was not willing to wait to commit and come and see our school on an official visit, then they likely wouldn't have committed to us anyways. And if they did, it would have been a very light commitment. And I suppose there's some truth to that. And, you know, when you have the visit in late June and the recruits that you have seen multiple other schools, including yours, and they still choose you, that means that they're pretty confident in choosing you. That's why Iowa does not have a ton of decommitments, because the guys who commit to them, by and large, it's pretty thought out. It's pretty thought out, and they feel confident choosing the Iowa Hawkeyes. So, you know, it's a give and take. Now, moving on here. Last thing on it. Personally, if I was Iowa, I would probably still do it earlier in the month, because Iowa still does a lot of early work. They have to land some of the commits that they want to land. And because they do so much early work anyways, they would, you know, what difference is a couple of weeks going to make? The work has already been put in, but the difference would be that they would have an earlier shot to sell their main pitch and sell their pitch before anybody else has. So I would do it earlier in the month myself. But I said that last year. Obviously, Iowa is not going to change it anytime soon as they continue with this model. Here are some of the commitments. Iowa is doing phenomenal in the state of Iowa. Let me go ahead and pull up the 247 Sports state of Iowa rankings. Yet again, the state of Iowa, yet again, the state of Iowa is doing way better when it comes to producing college level talent. The top guy in the state doesn't look to have a ton of interest in Iowa. He's actually from a different state, so he didn't grow up as a Hawkeye fan. So I don't think they're going to be landing him unless something drastic changes. And furthermore, they already have 2 offensive tackles committed to their school and 2 interior linemen committed in Cody Fox and Josh Janowski. Iowa has, according to 247, commitments from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the top 10 guys. Now, some of the other guys that are in the top 10 are Titus Cram, Reese Vanderzee, and Grant Bricks, but we already talked about him. I was a little bit surprised that Iowa did not offer tight end Jacob Simpson. He actually has a pretty good offer sheet. And from what I was able to read on his athletic profile, he's actually a pretty athletic guy. If he is truly 6'5", that's excellent size. But for whatever and he was on campus, but for whatever reason, Iowa did not pull the trigger in offering him, and he ended up at Minnesota. Whoa. Of the two guys in the top 10, and obviously these rankings are going to change as the season progresses. Iowa will not land Titus Cram. They're likely done with him, as they already have their 2 running back commitments. My guess is that his commitment has slowed down quite a bit as other teams gain commitments from other schools and other positions get locked up. I've had questions in the past. Well, is Iowa going to land Titus Cram? No, it's not likely. He had his chance to commit to Iowa, but 2 other running backs have already committed, and I like very much the 2 commits that have committed to Iowa. So that's likely done, Titus Cram. Reese Vanderzee is basically down to Iowa and Iowa State. I think that Iowa has the edge here, as his teammate is an Iowa Hawkeye in Zach Lutmer. I believe Iowa was the first to offer him, and Iowa State offered him soon after that. I think Iowa has the advantage here. But make no mistake, when it comes to the wide receiver position, Iowa State sadly holds more sway than the Iowa Hawkeyes do. I would love for him to commit to Iowa. I think that he is Brody Brecht 2.0 with his size, his athleticism. He stands 6'5", 190 pounds. The state of Iowa has done a great job of producing tall, athletic wide receivers in the last couple of years. He has a grade of an 87. I could see that going up to 88 or 89. So I would very much like to see them land him, which means, well, doesn't necessarily mean, but I would say Iowa is the favorite to land him as of right now. Let's go back to the other official visits here, and we will wrap this up. Just a lot of good talent. Eric Carner, I believe the favorite is Iowa, although there's a lot of competition for him. He has already stated that Iowa is the favorite to land him, and Iowa is the favorite to land his teammate, who's a wide receiver, his high school teammate. If Iowa could land him, I think that he would be probably top 3 most talented tight ends to commit to Iowa in the past couple of years. I mean, he has a very impressive. Alabama has offered him. Texas A&M. He's going to take an official visit to Texas A&M. He's already taken one to Florida. I mean, this guy has great offer sheet. Brevin Dahl is a high 3-star running back commit, very fast. Defensive end Chima Chineke, I think it's going to be tough sledding to land him, although he would be an excellent get for the Hawkeyes. He has a ton of upside. But Kansas, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, Vanderbilt, all after him as well. Not that Iowa can't beat out those schools, but it's just, it's going to be tough. KJ Parker, I would say Iowa is favored to land him. Charlie Becker, I would say it's a tie between Iowa and Northwestern. It's come down to Iowa, Northwestern, and Indiana, but I'll just put it to you guys this way. I'm not saying Iowa is favored, but they are well positioned to land him. Jalen Watson, defensive back Jalen Watson. Iowa's definitely favored to land him. Tight end Gavin Hoffman is down to Iowa and Missouri. I would say Missouri is probably favored. He's also going to go see Arizona State. I would say it probably goes Missouri, Iowa, Arizona State. We'll see what type of pitch Iowa can give him. Joseph Anderson, I would say he's probably leaning in the direction of Nebraska. But again, I think Iowa has a decent shot to land him. Rashad Godfrey, cornerback Rashad Godfrey. Iowa is in great shape to land him. Sage Claudius, big wide receiver out of West Virginia. I would say Iowa is the favorite to land him. But ultimately Iowa's only going to be able to take 2, maybe 3 wide receivers. And they're already in on 2 other, or 3 other wide receivers. So we'll see. But I think Iowa is the school he's looking at the most here. If Iowa could land 2 of the big wide receivers, Sage Claudius, Charlie Becker, who's 6'3", and Reese Vanderzee, out of those 3, it would be excellent. Tight end Michael Burt out of the state of Nebraska visited Iowa on June 9th. He was the lone visitor. I think Iowa has a good shot to land him, but I think it's going to be hard to pull him away from Nebraska. Now, what's in the favor of Iowa is a few things. Number 1, they were the first team to offer him. Number 2, he visited them first, so they were definitely able to give them their pitch. And number 3, Nebraska already has a couple of tight end commits committed to them. So, I would still give Nebraska the slight edge, but I would give Iowa a definite shot to land him. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Should be a very interesting official visit weekend coming up. Iowa is currently rated the 23rd ranked class. I would predict this Iowa class to finish top 35. If they can finish top 35, they'd be in good shape. A few things so far have worked in Iowa's favor. Number 1, 2 of the linebacker commits have turned into 4 stars in Derek Weiskopf and Cam Buffington. Cody Fox is a 4-star. So when it's all said and done, Iowa could have 3 4-star composite guys. There are a few guys who are right on the cusp of being 4-star guys. Will Nolan, Drew Campbell, James Razor, quarterback James Razor is a 4-star by 247 Sports. Not composite, but I think Brevin Dole could be a 4-star running back. So this class could be anywhere from top 35 to top 30. I think top 30 would probably be the limit for Iowa unless they're able to get a for Iowa to be a top 25 class, they would have to have a few of the guys that commit to them become 4-stars and land maybe another top 100 guy out of nowhere, which currently Iowa is not positioned to do. But this class is shaping up good, guys. I don't want Iowa is doing good work. They have a solid class right now, and this official visit weekend will be huge towards cementing that. All right, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe. I told you guys I want to get to 2,000 subs by the time the season starts. Help your boy out. I will continue to give you guys content, especially as the season approaches. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. And facts are feelings because your feelings just don't matter. Love you guys. See you guys next time. Go Hawks.